Welcome. This is the F1 Flaming Tarmac, episode 101. Big up to everyone. Our sub count is going up. I want to thank everybody for subscribing. It's 17,000. Let me get the exact count, sub count, and I'll put it up there. I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel. And past and present, really, past and present, supporting the channel. We really appreciate it on the channel. We really do. I'm gonna put the sub count at the bottom of the screen, and for people listening on Spotify as well, the exact count is 17,472 subscribers. Thank you very much, guys, for supporting the channel. Anyway, guys, you know how it is. I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it every single video. Like the video. Like the video. If you like the content, or if you don't like the content, whatever, leave a comment below, and I answer all my comments, by the way. So if you leave a comment, I will act, I will react, I will respond to every comment that I get. So remember, guys, leave a comment. It really helps out the channel as well. And if there's a hype option, there is a hype option. If there is, hype the video as well, because that really helps out the channel. It's so important on this for YouTube. If you're watching the video, I appreciate the views. I do appreciate the views. I appreciate you coming along and watching the video as well. I really do. Sometimes I could be chatting here for half an hour and nobody even watching me, but I still do it, you know. Anyway, all I ask is to like the video. That's all it is, liking the video. And that's what it helps out a lot. One like, it's free. You don't have to pay. You just like the video. View it good, but like it as well. And if you want to subscribe, it's up to you. But liking the video is so essential. When you like the video, it gets the video out there in the algorithm, and more people get to see our content. That's why I keep saying like. But anyway, let's talk about Formula One. We're going to talk about what happened. Well, actually, we'll talk about that first. We're going to talk about what happened to Pierre Gasly in practice 2. He had a crash. We're going to talk about that as well. Yeah, and we're going to talk about Kimi Antonelli stepping up again. But look, let's face it, it's the fastest car on the straight. Mercedes is the fastest car on the straight. If you've been watching Formula One, we can see that it's the fastest. So we're going to talk about that as well. We're going to talk about Ferrari, a little bit of Ferrari. But it's not going to be a long video today, guys. It's Friday and it's 9 o'clock. So I want to get this all wrapped up. And let me know what you think, guys, in the chat room as well. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's start with Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly in practice 2. It says Alpine has been given an update after Pierre Gasly's crash in free practice 2 ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix, which brought out the red flag. The Frenchman walked away from an accident with just over 15 minutes remaining in the second session at Spa on Friday, which is today, after running wide on the exit of left hand of turn 13. Gasly appeared to lose his back, the back of his car, before skating through the gravel and making it heavy contact with the barrier, which ripped the rear wing off. The Alpine caused extensive damage elsewhere. Overall, it's been a good day testing, said Gasly. This was after he had an interview after. We're just glad that he's okay, you get me? Overall, it's been a good day of testing, said Gasly, after a lot of different parts, tried a lot of different parts in the car. and we need to weigh up to see, which is good. So Pierre Gasly, fine. Happy for him. I'm glad that he's fine. That's one thing, you know. He lost his mate. You remember when he lost his mate here a couple of years ago in Formula 2 race? So I know when it comes to this track, I know he always thinks about his best mate. Well, I'm not sure if it was his best mate, but it was his close friend. And I know coming here, and he must, especially when it goes up the Eau Rouge, where it just happened, just above the Eau Rouge. I don't know that he thinks about his mate all the time, especially when it comes to this track as well. So Pierre Gasly is fine, and it's all good. So let's move on to the practice one. Let's go straight to practice one now. So basically, the championship leader, Kimi Antonelli, and Mercedes bounced back from a difficult morning to free up practice two. Let's do practice two, practice one. So Kimi Antonelli didn't really have the best of sessions in practice one. Max Verstappen did though. It says so the key. Let me see. Have a look. The Max Verstappen topped the timesheets in practice one. Second was Lewis Hamilton. So Max Verstappen got a 1 minute 1:47.0, and Hamilton, I think it was just 1/10 behind him. Charles Leclerc just behind Lewis as well. Kimi Antonelli finished 6th place, so he didn't have the best of morning. Max Verstappen did top, like I said, he topped the timesheets for Red Bull in free practice one at 2026 Belgian Grand Prix, clocking up a 1 minute 47.0, sorry, laps to edge out the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton by 1/10. This marked the first time Verstappen had led practice session all season. So this is the first time Max Verstappen has led a practice session all season in practice one. So obviously they've done something to the car. Maybe this car suits this track. But look, Max Verstappen, he made it clear in the practice session that he weren't giving. Look, the interview was saying, "Oh, you're gonna leave. You're gonna leave. You're gonna leave." Basically, say you're gonna leave Red Bull. Everybody's going to McLaren. Max Verstappen, you know, Max Verstappen, he's not gonna give nobody nothing. He says, "Look, I'm with this team, and that's it." But we all know eventually what's gonna happen is Red Bull don't step up. If Red Bull don't step up their game, Max Verstappen will leave. I think Red Bull will try offer him an extension, try and give him more money to his contract. But Max Verstappen, look, at the end of the day, the guy's rich. He's not, obviously they're there for the money, but most importantly, he's there for the racing. And he's not going to be in a car where he's button it like 3rd or 4th. A guy like Max Verstappen, like Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris and all of them, they're not going to be in a car where they can't win. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to be in a car where they can't win. And people like that, they're not going to settle for 3rd and 4th. You know, that's all I'm saying. So the key sessions of practice one was the red wing reverse. They had like a basically the Red Bull car had a red wing reversion. Following back-to-back heavy crashes for Verstappen in Austria and Silverstone, the Red Bull shelved an experiment rotating rear wing, reverting to an old spec. So they're going back to an old spec wing, paid immediately defined Spa's engine heavy layout. So they've gone back to an old spec. They reversed the wing, and it's working out for them because practice one, he topped the charts. Immediate grid penalties, severe major components were changed ahead of this weekend regarding Lando Norris. He hit back with the aero rakes to gather testing data, but faces a 10-place grid penalty for a new battery. Red Bull's Isaac Hadjar, who finished an impressive P4, faces a 20-place grid penalty back-to-back. Now back of the grid for a power unit change. So we all know the rules of F1, which I don't really agree with it. I don't really agree with this, that once you change your engine, your power unit, you have to be at the back. I just think that doesn't make sense to me. I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with it. I think if you have to change engine, like regarding safety as well. If it's damaged, why should you get a penalty for it? That's how I look at it. So but Lando Norris does face a 10-place grid penalty for a new battery as well. So mans are getting penalties for battery changes as well. That's new to me about the battery change, really new. On-track friction drivers grabbed a low grip surface early on. Championship leader Kimi Antonelli narrowly avoided a collision with a slow-moving Carlos Sainz Brandon Williams driver, an idiot. So basically, during practice session, Kimi Antonelli just swerved the driver Carlos Sainz and he called him an idiot. Wow. Over the team radio, Sainz session never recovered and he finished down in P20. So Carlos Sainz struggling. Carlos Sainz is struggling with that car. I think at the beginning when Carlos Sainz first joined, we had high hopes for Carlos Sainz. We had high hopes for Williams, Dane Bowers, the way he was talking about it, that he was going in the right direction. I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing, but I'm a bit shocked that the car hasn't made any progression, because it seems like they're going backwards. When he first joined the team, Dane Bowers, he was good, and the car was going in the right direction, but it just doesn't seem like he's going in the right direction now, and it's a shame. I just hope they can get their stuff together, you know, because I do like Williams. So regarding Oscar Piastri, a late mechanical drama. Oscar Piastri secured a P5 but triggered alarm bells at McLaren late in the session when he ordered to stop on the Kemmel Straight due to a hydraulic pressure leak. He managed to limp back to the pit and on a slow crawl. So McLaren again having more problems with the car. So the end of practice one, he had Max Verstappen winning. Got the fastest time, 1 minute 4:70. Lewis Hamilton second, third Charles Leclerc, Isaac fourth, Isaac Hadjar fourth, Oscar Piastri fifth, Kimi Antonelli sixth, Lando Norris seventh, George Russell eighth, ninth, Lindblad, and 10th, Gabriel Borlatelli. And that's the end of that practice session one. Now let's look at practice two in more in depth. Let's get my notes up. So Kimi Antonelli, let's have a look now. Kimi Antonelli topped the second practice session with 2026 Belgian Grand Prix, Spa-Francorchamps, setting a blistering lap of a 1 minute 45.9. Mercedes driver finished a second ahead of McLaren's Lando Norris in second, with Red Bull's Max Verstappen in third. So there you go. All of them. That's been like the you know, Kimi Antonelli, that's been his kind of thing this season. You never see him doing good in practice one, but in practice two or three, he just steps up in it. A bit like Lewis Hamilton used to be. Remember when Lewis Hamilton was in Mercedes? We'll see what happens. Kimi Antonelli topped the second practice session with 2026. Like I just said, Mercedes driver finished 0.1 seconds ahead of McLaren's Lando Norris in second, Red Bull Max of third. The disturbed session saw 2 red flags, ultimately restricting teams from completing an extended running. The first one occurred early on after Max Verstappen ran wide and sprayed gravel onto the track on turn 14, while the second was brought out when Pierre Gasly suffered a heavy crash, damaging the rear of the Alpine, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Key takeaways from practice 2: Mercedes championship leader Antonelli was the only driver to dip into 1 minute 4. His pace, he had a solid pace in front of Max Verstappen. However, his teammate George Russell struggled, finishing 1.2 seconds off the pace in 8th. What's going on with George Russell, man? What's going on with his car? I remember at the beginning of the season when George Russell was his car was fine, he was fine, he's confident, and all of a sudden now it's just gone away. It's a shame. I really had high hopes for George Russell, you know. Mercedes Chevrolet Antonelli, George Russell struggles 1.2 seconds behind. Penalties, both Lando Norris and Red Bull's Isaac Hadjar heading to Sunday's race carrying a 10-place grid penalty. Lewis Hamilton secured a 4th, but the team faced an off-track headache after being summoned to the stewards for alleged protocol tyre breach in FP1. So you know what's going to happen. He's probably going to get a penalty. But yeah, that was it overall regarding the Formula One. I think it's been all right practice. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Hamilton, let's talk about Hamilton. We haven't really talked about Hamilton today. I don't really like to talk about Hamilton every week. People say, oh, you just a fanboy, but I don't care what they say anyway. But I'm going to speak about Hamilton now. Lewis Hamilton believes that while Ferrari were lacking a little bit of pace at times during the free practice for the Belgian Grand Prix, they will be able to make the right changes and close the gap to their competitors overnight. So we'll see what happens there. I believe that they will. I believe Ferrari are faster than this, and they will make the correct changes, and I think they'll come back into it as well. When Lewis Hamilton's in that Ferrari, I always think he can win every single race. I know he's probably not the fastest car, probably got the best chassis. He's got the best chassis, but he just hasn't got the straight line speed. I think they're better on the corners. But as for straight line speed, I think obviously that goes to Mercedes. But like Lando Norris said a few weeks ago, he said if Ferrari ever get the straight line speed, they will embarrass all of us. They've got the best chassis. They've got the best, probably the best in the corners, similar to Mercedes. But if they get the straight line speed and they improve their car, I think they'll do it before Monza. I think Monza's after the summer break, and I think after Monza they will it'll sort it out. And yeah, and I think the car will come good. So he said the team found their feet early on at Hamilton taking P2 in free practice, which we talked about. However, the scuba Ferrari behind the drivers, Mercedes, Red Bull and McLaren in the latest session, with Hamilton's settling for 4th place. Leclerc struggled significantly more, failed to inside the top 10. He failed to get inside the top 10. Leclerc. Hamilton was nevertheless content with overall performance. He was content with the overall performances, as he had a pretty good day in general. Positive. We made steps forward and relatively clean session, and we will make improvements tomorrow. So that's good. So far with what Hamilton said, it looks positive for the Ferrari. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We know when practice 3 happens tomorrow, it's gonna the grid will be in a different place. It's always like that with Formula One. So guys, that's the end of the F1 Flaming Tarmac episode 101. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm going to try and put this up on the audio as well. See you later, guys. Big up to everyone. That's my dogs. Good morning now, my dogs. So I'm going to go and feed them. See you later, guys. Big up.